What's going on, everybody? This is Afro Think Tank. So tomorrow, Thursday, Donald Trump is going to make a major announcement. This announcement probably is going to go a little something like this. He's going to say the 2020 elections was stolen, that the elections in Georgia were corrupt and stolen, and that Senator Warnock and a few other senators in Georgia are illegitimate, and that the Democrats are going to try to steal the midterm elections, and that he's going to take some kind of executive order to slow down or control the midterm elections. He's going to make a big fuss about the Democrats, and how they're about to currently steal elections, because it's impossible that any Republican could possibly lose, because Israel is shoo-in and America loves him and America's booming, and Epstein doesn't. He won't say anything about Epstein. He'll say that's a hoax, Democratic hoax, and that he's been totally exonerated, and that America wanted him to go to war with Iran, and that it's a good thing that we're liberating Iran, and that he's ended 8 wars, and he's going to regurgitate a lot of his same talking points. Also, simultaneously at the same time, if you have been around Washington, D.C. at any point in time in the last year or two, you will notice that the White House accessibility has been severely restricted, as more gates, more guards, more military personnel are patrolling Washington, D.C., which is very odd to go down to the Washington Mall and see all of these military troops on patrol as if we're, waiting for a pending invasion, right? I've never seen Washington, D.C. like this. Even when Bush was the president, you had access to the White House. You can't even walk up to the White House now. You can't walk up to the original gate. He is definitely preparing not to leave. I think, and I can't confirm it, but I think he's going to try to do something to stay, because it's an all or nothing for Donald Trump. Donald Trump knows that if he loses the midterm elections, right, meaning if enough Democrats get in office, then they can start investigations, real investigations that have real consequences for him. That also makes him a lame duck president. Once he becomes a lame duck president, he won't be able to do anything at all. He'll just be sitting there, and he'll be beholden to the will of Congress and and the House. Now, it's possible that he loses both Congress and both the House. It's possible, which would be his worst case scenario. It's already bad that Mitch McConnell is out of the picture, even though they're trying to pretend like, Weekend at Bernie's with him. They're trying to pretend like he's not, out of the picture, but he's most definitely out of the picture. Lindsey Graham, one of his most loyal servants, has, kicked the bucket. So he's missing 2 great power sets that helped him stay where he is. So he's pretty vulnerable, right? He knows he's pretty vulnerable. And Donald Trump, we use this so often, it almost doesn't mean anything anymore to say it. But the level of corruption displayed by this right-wing neo-Nazi administration is not comical. It's Netflix worthy. All right, we're talking about House of Cards, First 48, night agent level corruption, right? You couldn't make this corruption up. This is made for TV, and I'm pretty sure when this saga is done, Netflix, Prime, one of them going to jump on this, and they're going to do a whole 8. They're going to do a season per year, and we're all going to watch it as if we weren't there, and it's going to be entertaining, and we're going to hope that they, stay true to source material, right? Because this is going to go down in history. This is America's Nazi moment. I mean, America has had many Nazi moments. As a matter of fact, America and its founding fathers, those slave-holding founding fathers, inspired the Nazis to do all the things that they did. And as terrible as the Holocaust was and as the Nazis were, it pales in comparison to the founding fathers and what they did to the Native Americans and what they did to the Africans during the transatlantic slave trade. Pales in comparison. No one comes close to what America and the founding fathers did. This founding slave owners, capitalists in America, right? So Donald Trump, the last hoorah, the last champion of pure white supremacy, because this is it. Because To be honest, Donald Trump has been the worst thing for white supremacy. See, if white supremacy was actually intelligent, they would have elected Kamala Harris, because it would have dulled the community. Everybody would have been like, oh, okay, we're okay now. And they could have slid somebody else more tactful in there, right? But because they allowed Donald Trump, because they were so zealous, they were so afraid of the oncoming change, the demographic change that they can't do anything about, that they allowed someone like Donald Trump to become the president, which exposed all of the racists. Because Donald Trump is definitely not intelligent enough to do any of this stuff that he's doing, right? He's a very surface level individual, and it's just people in the back who you do not know, and some you do know, who is actually running the country, right, via the avatar of Donald Trump. So Donald Trump has nothing to lose, and because he's already stress tested the government and what the branches of government will allow him to do, he's already saw how far they will allow him to go, and it's been pretty far. The people who are currently in the judiciary should be ashamed of themselves, because they have basically they have not been doing the job, because there's a reason why the judiciary is supposed to be separate, and it's supposed to be separate so that when you have rogue leaders like Donald Trump, they can hold them accountable. But in this era, white supremacy takes precedent above all common sense and all good governance, and because of that, he's going to start his campaign of authoritarianism tomorrow. Everybody stand by, because we all knew it was coming, because why would he leave? Donald Trump has no intention to leave. He hasn't even finished his ballroom, his base that he's creating for when the inevitable millions upon millions of protesters fall upon the White House to protest the fact that he is violating the Constitution and everything America is supposed to be about, right, in order to maintain power so he can control the government. And there's plenty of white weakling stooge politicians in Congress and in the House that will move out the way, be silent, and do nothing in the face of white supremacy and his last stand against civility, right? So everybody, brace yourself for the start of one of the most ridiculous times in American history. When Donald Trump tries for a third term, Donald Trump either will try for a third term, he'll try to place somebody in there and establish his avatar, which the thing is, he really doesn't care about anybody outside of himself, so he doesn't care about his successor. What he cares about is completing the things that he wants to complete and not going to jail. Because to be quite honest, he has done so many things that you can just literally pick anything and that will put him away for life. His sons should be put away for life. His daughter, his stepsons, his entire administration should be put away for life. There should be a mass inquisition coming in. And if the Democrats are smart, which I'm trying to, we're going to have to wait and see on that one, they would put in charge people who are prosecutors. Because when this campaign starts, we'll be looking for justice. People will be looking for justice because, everybody's burnt by this. Everybody, including the people that supported him. Once he lost the support of MAGA, that's when he knew that there will be no public outcry for holding him and his administration accountable to the fullest extent of the law. And I believe that any intelligent incoming administration will make it their priority to first reverse every single draconian authoritarian policy and an executive order done by Donald Trump since he came down those golden steps. There need to be a dedicated task force to expeditiously reverse all racist, misogynistic, and unconstitutional policies that he has implemented. We also need a separate task force that is charged with closing with and destroying, through the process of prosecution, all complicit politicians, business people, and non-governmental organizations and CEOs who are complicit in the authoritarian and the disregard for law and order in the country. Elon Musk should be prosecuted to the full extent of the law, but we all know that Elon Musk is Teflon Don because he is the ultimate white supremacist and he's rich, and we know there's a two-tier system, right? And he might be able to escape this. We don't have a government strong enough with enough backbone to actually prosecute the richest person in the world, the richest presenting person in the world, because he's not the richest person in the world. But hopefully as some, at least maybe they'll be able to hold him accountable. At least maybe his corporations, his companies can be regulated and slowed down and not be allowed to monopolize certain industries, along with all the other big box corporations who are currently destroying America with their unregulated business practices happening in America. So tomorrow is on. Get your popcorn, make sure it's the kind with the butter, because this is going to be interesting. Because Donald Trump is about to make one of his most important and consequential speeches that he can possibly make. Because like I said, he has nothing to lose. And we know he cares about nobody but himself and his own money. So all that will be reflected tomorrow, and we all must brace for it. And we all as a nation have to decide, what are we going to do about it? And that lies the question right there. Anyway, you guys tell me what you think in the comment section. It's Afro Think Tank. Learn something, teach something. I'm out.
Every accusation is a confession. I will not elaborate.
What is that? What is that?
I don't know. What is that? That's okay.
Oh, it's a goblin and it's nasty.
Free Sudan! Boycott diamonds and gold! Free Sudan! Boycott diamonds and gold! We most definitely cannot forget about the people of Sudan!
Thanks for watching Afro Think Tank. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And follow me on Substack and Patreon for more content. Remember, it's Pan-Africanism or nothing.